What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the United Health Care insurance. The CEO being assassinated at the end of last week, whatever, um, on the streets of New York. This was it's kind of a wild thing that just happens. It just happened out of nowhere. But I think um and we're gonna go over a little bit of the details. I don't know the details in like great um detail or anything. That's a weird way to say that. But anyways, uh, but I wanted to really talk about the bigger picture issue here, which I think has really brought this to the forefront, and that is just our healthcare system in general and the problems with it, and the fact that the majority of you know Americans very clearly realize this. Because the reactions and stuff that have happened since then has been pretty wild, honestly. So we're going to talk about that real quick. So thank you very much for joining me. If you liking the content we're doing here, please, or I'm doing here. Well, there's no we, is there? um, please consider subscribing, like, share, all that good stuff. Check out my other channels, JMD Drummer, JMDPLAY. You have the Discord there if you want to, talk with me or whatever. Other people. One-time donations or JMD Nation up top for $3 a month. Anything you do or any support you give is very much appreciated. I don't take, I don't have any, ads or anything like that. I just, I don't get any kind of sponsors or anything. So it's just me. It's just me here doing this, and don't really even have enough followers yet to even monetize. So any support you give is much appreciated. So thank you very much. But yes. So this, when was I think this was? I don't even know when it was actually done. Was it Friday or something? Thursday, Friday last week. An individual as the CEO was, I think, entering or getting ready to enter into some building or something, get out of his car, or maybe he was getting into the car. I can't remember how. It doesn't matter. An individual pulled out what I think was like a pistol-like weapon with some sort of silencer or something on it, and shot the CEO of United Healthcare. I want to say in the back first, and then as he stumbles forward from the shots, I think trying either over the car or trying to make his way maybe into the car or something. Anyways, the guy then starts to walk forward, shoots him another 2 or 3 times. Somewhere in the midst of that, the gun apparently somewhat jams or something, and he has to wrestle with the gun for a second, and then he gets off another shot or two after fixing the jam or whatever the case. This is, like I said, I'm just briefly going over what little bit I've heard. Then he runs, gets away on a bike, I think. There's basically a manhunt for him for several days. I think they just found him. It was either today or yesterday. Maybe I think it was yesterday. They finally was able to catch up with him. I want to say he was in Pennsylvania somewhere by the time they found him, and So yeah, it's been all over the news, all over throughout the weekend. The NYPD had put out multiple supposed pictures of him where they had it's like 3 or 4 or so pictures of whatnot that were supposedly taken from, I guess, different cameras and stuff throughout the city or whatnot. Anyways, people were even saying that the person in the video or the pictures didn't even look the same So there was question whether or not it was truly the person or not, or whether the NYPD was actually just having random people, maybe even being, anyway, it was just a whole wild kind of weird thing. It's been, but they finally caught him. I think today he was going later or this afternoon or whatever. He was being arraigned or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, so the guy apparently had, there was been reports that he had writings on the bullets that I can't remember what they were, but anyways, kind of having to deal with the whole like to do with United Healthcare, like how they like the kind of mantra sort of thing that they use to some degree, or kind of like a maybe like an in-house kind of mantra that they use when it comes to, you know, handling claims and stuff like that. Anyways, but what's the most interesting thing here in is, see, the United Healthcare is like the highest, the has the highest percentage of claims that are unaccepted claims or whatever, of denied claims. It's like 30 or 32% or something like that of denied claims to their, recipients, people who have, insurance through them. Like I said, it's the highest in the country pretty much. And so this is, and that which shows the problem, right. I mean, clear as day with our health system to begin with. And that's what I mainly want to focus on in the rest of this, or through for the main part of this video. But the outrage that has come from this, though, has been very interesting. You have a lot of politicians, a lot of like elite people in the Republican and Democratic, whatever, didn't really matter. Coming out sort of like in this, your typical response to somebody being killed or whatnot, in the streets or whatnot. Anyways, but a lot of people, like regular citizens, outraged to this, has actually been the exact opposite. People almost somewhat, in a weird way, celebrating this CEO, being assassinated. To kind of in that idea of he got what he deserved kind of thing, because he's been, there's no telling how many people his insurance company has, through denying claims, denying coverage, medical operations or whatever the case may be, some type of medical anything, whatever it was, how many people have died as a result of those claims not being accepted or not being paid out or whatever the case. And so it's kind of that, karma kind of effect that I think a lot of people are attaching to this event. And they kind of have a point. I mean, there's outrage in the elite, like I said, elite political circles, whatnot, at this type of reaction. That how dare people, like, sort of, to some degree, celebrate somebody being killed. In and But it's like, this is what you this is the natural order here. This is what happens when have a system like we have, and it's clear as day to everybody that is trash. And one of the people at the top that is someone who is helping to or in causing the problems, um, something happens to them, it's like, oh well, you know, how many people have you yourself, because of actions that you've taken through your company, through this insurance company, denying people claims, denying people coverage on stuff that they've paid in. Because that's the thing when it comes to our system and our privatization of our health care system and health insurance services is for profit. So their whole you know uh, motive is for profit. It's not to take care of you. It's not for your health. It's not for it's for them to make a buck. So any kind of possible way they can deny a claim or deny covering something so that they can save money, they're going to do, while taking your money and saying that they're going to cover stuff for you. You know, it's that's just our system. Uh, and while it seems kind of dark for people to somewhat, you know, either not care or be a little almost celebratory to an action like this, it's the way it is. We and people are, I think, are more and more waking up to that, waking up to the idea and to the fact that our system is messed up. Um, and that's just the fact. We have the um, we pay out per capita more than any established, like, major country in the world. The on average, I think the average of most other, like, industrialized companies countries is around three. I mean, like 6,000 or something per person that they pay out. You know, for medical stuff, and for the U.S. it's double that, around 12,000 per person on average, for the capita, for our population. That's a percentage. Um, and while you would think, okay, well, yeah, we might pay twice as much as, but I mean, that means that, but that just means we have the best, right? We have the best health care. We have the best, health outcomes of any other country too. I mean, that's the reason why we pay. No, actually, we have some of the worst outcomes and some of the worst health care of all industrial countries, uh, or modern uh, countries. Uh, so we pay more and have worse outcomes, and it's because, and we are the only major country in the world, industrialized country in the world, that does not have in some type of single payer um, healthcare system, uh, a public system to some degree. We do not have one at all, and which is where people like Bernie Sanders and others, in that lane or whatever, have been advocating for, the single payer healthcare system, or Medicare for all, which I think is kind of a horrible name for it, honestly, but it's a single payer idea, where people, everybody pays into a tax into the government, and but everybody has healthcare. So, because you have a roughly, I think, somewhere around 60 something thousand, 60, between 60 and 70,000 on average a year, people who go uncovered, that are not covered, um or something like that. Several tens of thousands of people that are not covered every year, because of our system, because they can't afford it, or they're denied coverage, or whatever the case. Like, and you have And if you had a single payer public, you know, system, everybody was covered regardless. Some people argue, well, we don't want to completely be public. We still want private options and things like that. And I understand that completely. I have no problem with that. But I think everybody should have a right to health care, and it should be a public option, and everybody covered, period. I mean, we are the richest nation in the world. Everybody should be taken care of health wise. That seems simple. It seems easy. But that's not the case. And I could perfectly understand having, like I said, a single payer thing. I would gladly pay in a little extra in taxes to not to have full health care free at the time of service. Like, I'm not paying anything because it's already paid for. Um, and it's already been studies done that would save us uh, hundreds of millions of dollars annually, billions of dollars, I think, annually, um, if we were to swap or change to a single payer healthcare system. Uh, and there's arguments about how people will, that if we go to that, then you're going to have, like, longer wait times, or the healthcare is going to be worse or whatnot. I don't. If you there would be no there. That's just fear mongering on having a system like that. There's no data point or anything to show that would be the case. I mean, uh, when you look at the Medicaid or Medicare system, um, there is, I mean, they still get coverage. They still get seen just as easily and fast as anybody else does. I mean, or to the extent that they aren't being seen as fast, is because our privatized system promotes for people who have more money to get better health results. To get seen faster, because it's like pay at service. It's pay to serve kind of thing. So the more money you have, the better outcomes you have, because you're able to pay for that faster, expedient, expedited type of service. But in that case, everybody's on this level playing field. And so it wouldn't come down to who pays more for this or pays more for that, unless you actually are paying for private, extra on top, private service, private insurance or whatever. Then maybe you would get, expedient, whatever. But that would, there would be much fewer people on that, more than likely. So there would be a less of a effect on the population as a whole, even in that case. So, it just makes more sense. And how we save money? Well, there's a lot of administrative costs that goes into our system now. In the Medicare service, currently, the overhead of admin cost, like as a percentage into that, what is paid out for Medicare, is only like 2%. It's all the overhead for admin, because it's just a straightforward service. Uh, it's like a single payer service, but for elderly retirees, or people that are retirement, or elderly people, your older generations. So, and under our private system, the way it percentages out, it's like the administrative percentage of all that cost is like at 18%. So you're talking about because of all of the different insurance companies and everything, when you're paying in or whatever, and that you have a whole lot more administrative, like, uh, people that have to take care of all that documentation. There's a whole lot of, inner workings between the, the uh, hospitals to the insurance companies to, those that are taking, whatever the governmental part of that. And I mean, it's a whole lot of admin where if you cut all that out, you have no middleman anymore, and it's all, everybody's under the same system. It means all the paperwork's the same, all the, everything's just one single way. Everything's handled a single way. And so therefore you cut out all that admin. You cut all that, paperwork, all that, you know, having different things here, different things there, whatnot. I mean, all that's cut out. So you're saving, millions upon millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars just in admin costs. So you wind up, you know, benefiting there as far as we are concerned, as far as how much we are paying out in medical expenses, as a government. So I mean, it would benefit very much so for us to do that. And that's this event is really brought healthcare to the forefront in this, and how much the American people despise our system and how it's set up, because you've got, almost everybody has some sort of story or something that they can, talk about, some sort of outcome that was, horrific or whatever, or a bad outcome in some kind of medical, to somebody in their family, whether it was themselves or somebody else in their family, um, because of because of the insurance companies or whatever the case. I mean, um, whether it comes down to or the medical service or even our, um, uh, the drugs, um, you know, uh, pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. I mean, this there's a lot of problems there, and people are constantly, getting screwed over in this system all the time. Uh, so uh, it's something that certainly needs to change. It's something and I think this, it's, yes, it is an unfortunate event. You hate that it had to, that something like this had to happen for, you know this discussion to really come out like this. But unfortunately, that's kind of the way things happen in this country. Major ass events have to happen in order for things to finally get talked about. Um, but and hopefully this discussion will continue, and hopefully something at some point will happen from it. But with the administration coming in right now, I don't have any hopes in that. But who knows? Um, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's, like I said, this is a big discussion that needs to be had. Something that needs to change, because it's and honestly, it's surprising that it already hasn't happened. Like an event like this hasn't already happened. Uh, and the crazy part of that is that now that it has, there is a precedent for it. You're liable to, things always snowball from there. You're liable to have, more and more of these events or attempts, um, because people are frustrated. People are sick and tired of everything, um, whether it's, the economy, the prices of stuff, or healthcare system, and the horrible outcomes that we have here, in that. I mean, it's people are tired of it. Um, Working conditions. I mean, everything. You know, it's the reason why minimum wage is, big talk right now too. So I mean, this is uh, this country is really at a breaking point, in my opinion, and people are some things is gonna have to give, or more things like this is going to happen over and over and over again. And I don't know at what point those in power are going to finally get the signal and realize that they need to actually start, I don't know, representing the people. Maybe that's an idea you could try out. I don't know. You know. Anyways, thank you very much. Hope let me know what you think of these events. Like I said, I know I was a little sloppy on the content of it. That wasn't my main purpose though. The main purpose was talking about our system at large and the issues with it, and that this is bringing that kind of to the limelight in the forefront here as a discussion. And is that part I think is good, but because it needs to be discussed more. And hopefully it's discussed more to the point that uh, it kind of forces some hands. I don't know. Hopefully, but let me know what you think and about any of it and what you think about it. If you have a story or something, maybe of an event that you've had, due to our system, share it in the comments. That's fine. That would be awesome too. Bring awareness, whatever. So thank you very much, and until next time, ClearTalk. Peace. I'm out.